Bonsoir, bonjour. We are back here in Abidjan, in Côte d'Ivoire. We are wrapping up the 34th edition of the African Cup of Nations. Thanks to Vodacom Soccer through the Diski Chat that we are having here. Joining me are my soldiers. We've been all over. They've been on Utrago, they've been on ART, they've been on everything. I'm first joined by Diski Times football journalist. Well, he's becoming a specialist when it comes to African football. Lorenz Kohler here, and also the four-post editor. This is the main man, Dube, Mthokozisi, Dube. You must read his features. He really specializes when it comes to that. But if there's one person I know that he really didn't enjoy Utraco, it has to be Lorenz. Jens, what can you say about your journey in this tournament? There's been good things, there've been bad things, but at the end of the day, football has been the winner.
Yeah, definitely. Like saying north, south, east, west, we've been all over this country, and I wouldn't have it any other way. In terms of, I think what makes this one special, I felt in 2019, we were in Cairo, we were spoiled. Yeah, we felt the journey with this team. And the football has been amazing, the production has been amazing, the pitches have been amazing, the hospitality has been amazing, and we could cap off with a fairy tale at the end of it with those Elephants, the West African derby against Nigeria, who is not liked by many of the West African countries. I think they're like the protagonists, if that's the right word that I'm using. So yeah, this AFCON has really had it all. In terms of entertainment, in terms of script, in terms of unearthing new stars for global football. And when we sat at Ibempe for the opening game, and Mr. Dr. Patrice Motsepe said this is going to be the best AFCON of all time, we were like, yeah. Man.
Did you believe him, or you thought, okay, it was just one of those common speeches?
Yeah. It is what he's going to say it in Morocco also. But it's really loved. I think we were speaking to Zizou, our colleague, and I think this matches up with 2008 when that Ghana team with Teddy Ayew and Quincy Awuso. For entertainment value, this really matches it up there, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, especially seeing Bafana Bafana restore the faith and pride in our public. I'm getting goosebumps even thinking about it. Like, we're back, you know. And that's made every penny worth spending to be here.
We are coming to Bafana Bafana. Dube Mnyandu, he's been our organizer when it comes to the bus tickets. When is our next hotel? Where are we?
Top administrator.
Top administrator, like a true editor. Yeah.
Look, it's been an amazing journey. Look, man, it's I wouldn't have it any other way. I would do it all over. I think I've learned quite a lot just from this journey in terms of the planning, but I think what's made it even more beautiful is just the ability to follow Bafana Bafana. I mean, imagine if Bafana had gone out here after the group stages, wouldn't have been as sweet, but just being able to follow Bafana and also tap into the other teams in the other cities. We're probably the only journalists that have been to every host city. I don't think there's too many who've been to every host city, been to every venue. Look, it's
thanks to Bafana Bafana, eh?
Yeah, it's just been incredible. Lots of lessons, but we take pride in what Bafana have done. I mean, it's been phenomenal. Everyone is talking about how well they've played. Nigerian top players. I mean, Iheanacho, Trust Ikong saying that this team plays beautiful football. So yeah, look, hopefully we can build on that.
Yeah, I just want to be chronological in terms of our approach, because the last time we had the Diski Chat, we were previewing Namibia.
The Brave Warriors.
The Brave Warriors. Brave Warrior. And at that time, we had just lost the first game as Bafana Bafana against Mali. maybe still with you there, Mtho, when you go back to that game, what would you say worked for Bafana from that Namibia game?
Look, I think it was a blessing that we lost that first game against Mali. There were lessons that we learned, that pretty football doesn't always give you results, We played pretty, especially in the first half. In the second half, they came and they choked us. In the second game, we didn't play pretty. We went in with a whole different mentality. We need to win this game at all costs, where it mattered. We played the long ball, and I remember Debsa's long ball to Masego, pace and boom, not very pretty, but got the result. I mean, the result was pretty, So when you then sort of tweak things, I think you are bound to get the right results. Against Tunisia, we went in there and we just maintained our discipline. Defensively, we're solid. We got the result that we desired. We were through to the last 16. So we also applied ourselves very well against Morocco. Let them play in the first half. The second half, we came and
Took our chances.
Yeah, we took our chances, smash and grab, and
because I don't want to go too much. I want to remain there in the group stages, Lorenz, because since that Namibia game, there's been a lot of talk about the Sundowns' influence in the team, and of which some of us are not surprised. If you go back to even when we started the World Cup qualifiers and even the friendlies before then, maybe the friendlies because there are a lot of disruptions in terms of injuries, but you would see at least six Sundowns players in the starting lineup. Remember when we came here to even play against Cote d'Ivoire, you would see their influence there in the play there.
It's quite obvious that those players deserve to be there. If you look at the domestic league, they've not lost a game. So why wouldn't the squad be dominated by them? And it's not just their ability, but their experience on the continent. Not just their experience on the continent, but their winning mentality. And I think what separates, the good from the great is just that extra, bit of concentration. And I don't want to say be controversial, but coaching as well.
Coaching.
Motobi Mbala, a good number 8 and number 6 at Highlands Park, becomes an international standard player. I never in my wildest dreams would have thought I would be saying that Motobi Mbala is now an international standard centre back. Grant Kekana, I remember having a chat with this guy and I said, Sundowns is signing Grant Kekana. How is he going to elevate Sundowns? He says, okay, right back at Supersport. I was looking at, your Luke Fleers, your De Klokwe's, and what have you. And Grant Kekana comes to Sundowns, amazing player, versatile, and he's just elevated the Bafana team again. And what I find interesting about that is that to have an entire Sundowns backline and goalkeeper in Ronwen Williams, which is so underrated. I think only outside South Africa is not underrated. It's almost like a cheat code.
We've seen the rave reviews here.
Yeah.
And to also what you are saying, Lorenz, and especially when you are talking about the Sundowns players, because from the Mali game, we've played different variations of play here. And I think by game number 3, we were on a different approach against Tunisia as well. And taking nothing away from the Sundowns part as well, how the coach has also been able to change around how he approaches, but also how coachable are these Sundowns players for them to move from this within a split of a second. They're playing in this. It also says a lot about where they are coming from in terms of being coached, but also how even the coach has even spent enough time with them to know that they can do this.
Tactical intelligence. They are so used to it. They were playing games every three days leading up to this AFCON, which kudos to them because they're amazing athletes. But to break down the tactics. I spoke to the players and they say it's obviously easier playing more direct than the more nuanced, intricate, inverting, playing a asymmetric system where this one goes.
Rulani ball.
Yeah, Rulani ball. Obviously, you're doing pure maths, and then you're coming in and you're doing maths literacy. Just simplify things, you know what I mean? But what is interesting, yes, we've played a different way, but we've been convincing in the way that we have been playing. Because if you watch live, you can see everything is intentional. You're defending, you're falling back intentionally, you're pressing high intentionally. Mahopa is going from left to right, Mshishi is dropping deep depths. There was a lot of, I don't know where it comes from. Honestly, I've honestly been shocked by how commanding we have been, and that's off the ball. And we hear it so many times from all the top coaches in the world. You can be good on the ball, but you need to be better off the ball. And I think that is where Bafana have really improved tenfold.
One of the things I've learned, Velile Mnyandu, is that when it comes to international football, and especially in a tournament situation like this, it becomes more than just about coaching, about playing and managing on-field stuff. It also becomes more about what happens off the field, the specialities in this case. And I remember this is something that we were very much interested in. As we completed the group stages, we would go there and we would not see a single player watching a training session from the sidelines. And the timing as well, in terms of how close the days were, and if you look at the weather conditions, we were in awe of the conditioning.
We were saying we fatigued.
The conditioning. And I know that we don't have a big technical team like we saw against Tunisia, but the efficiency of the technical team that Coach Hugo Bruce has put together.
Yeah, look, it's a tournament of this nature. Games come thick and fast, and obviously players need to be managed very well. Debsa did say, I think it was the game
after
against
the Tunisia
Tunisia.
game,
He said
that he was struggling to wake up.
Yeah, struggling to wake up. But you can tell that a lot went into trying to refresh the players and make sure that they are sharp ahead of every game. Some of the sessions would be 30 minutes, 45 minutes, just to manage and make sure that the workload is not too much. And I think the only injury that we saw was that of Thapelo Masego, which I think probably a bit unavoidable. But from a conditioning point of view, I think Kopano did a sterling job. And also a special mention should also go to the analyst. Going into those games, you could tell. I got the sense that South Africa is prepared, Going into play in Nigeria, I got the sense that these guys, they knew very well how these guys are going to play. This is why Coach Hugo made changes like his defense, changing to a three-man defense and so you could tell that a lot of preparation went into it. Same way, when we went into the Tunisia game, the approach was totally different, but suited for that game. So I think, but then you then get the feeling that we're still a bit thin, on that technical team. And so you can imagine if you would get even, more specialized skills on that technical
So
bench.
maybe there are some departments where you feel that they need to double up because it's a tournament situation. It might not be enough maybe to just have one Messi, for instance. You've got 23 players.
Even Algeria and Morocco are coming to the tournaments with nutritionists, with chefs. You know what I mean? And that's finer details. And we can't say, it worked, because they're out of the tournament at the group stages. But it helps. And we know it would help. But do we have the ambition to go further than this? That's a question.
We followed up with the Morocco trip to San Pedro. And I think most people had written us off there, that we're going to this Moroccan team that has topped the group. They've been in Morocco. But I read something from the matchday -1 presser. I could feel and I could see the confidence of the coach. You know,
even the press
Yes.
said so. Like, they said it was a bit strange.
What was behind that confidence?
I think, in my opinion, what I've noticed from Morocco is when they are favorites, they don't play their best football. And we've beaten them before. That's two points there. Secondly, I think Bruce is a tactician that we are taking for granted.
For granted.
He watched the group stage games and he saw, I know where I'm going to exploit this team. And I think it just also speaks to the trust he has in the squad that he has. You know what I mean? How many times have we sat there, we've criticized this guy for his squad selection, and he's almost looking at us like, you don't know what you're talking about. You know what I mean? And especially the defensive part of this game. I mean, after that, you know, all the results where we actually, you know, as fans, media are upset with him, it's been against smaller teams. Come against the big boys, we leave happy. We leave knowing that the team, you know, shed their blood, sweat and tears on that pitch. So I think his confidence came from the fact knowing, you know, this group, they're going to rise to the occasion because they want to prove a point, not just to the world or to themselves. They know the quality, but even to the public. And like I said in the beginning, they've really done everything that they could have done to sway that opinion, and I won't be surprised our next home game we'll see a completely different stadium to what we've been seeing over the last 2 years.
I'm coming to that next home game because I like the fact that we are continuing on that trajectory of playing teams that are at this level that we've been playing in this tournament. But if there's one thing to some of the journalists that we've met, especially those from Cameroon, it's also to learn to tell you that Coach Hugo Bruce is someone, especially when it comes to the tournament, he believes in this special that we're talking about, the analysis part as well, because how we came back in that second half, and even when Morocco was still coming, and I remember he brought in Lepasa, he brought in Maseko as well. I was like, hey, you expect maybe someone will just bring in someone who's going to stabilize the game in the midfield and make sure you've got that hardened approach. But no, he was looking to exploit because there are transitions because they were coming.
Yeah. Look, there's just so much that I think he's done. Not just in this tournament, I think, but it's been gradual. I mean, going into that kind of game, there is an element of confidence as well. You know, like he mentions during the press conference leading up to that game, the way he spoke, you can tell that there was, you know, confidence, you know, in his group, this group of players, and then, you know, going obviously onto the field, the players then applied themselves, you know, very well, and you can tell at the end of it that he says the players actually followed the instruction that you know, he gave them. So and I get the sense that he understands what it takes to play tournament football. It's been very clear that we're not going to be trying to play pretty. You know, he said that we want a result.
Yes.
I don't care how it happens. You know, we just want a result. You know, we'll go out there, grind and get the result. I mean, no one remembers how that team played. We remember the result. It ended 2-0.
And when we talk about the result, and what I like is that we've had matches where you would see, yes, this team plays as a team, they are a collective, but you also see the individual brilliance. In the group stages, we saw Mshishi that would come out, back-to-back Man of the Match awards. Against Morocco, we call him Makanda. I mean, the quality of the boy playing against the Amrabads. I mean, you look in that game, You've got players coming from the La Liga, coming from the EPL, Manchester United, the Bundesliga, the Serie A, but he was just held on shoulders above them.
Yeah, and I think the one interesting thing about this team and the way that Hugo has set it up, there is that flexibility for the players to express themselves. When Mshishi has to dance, he dances. We've seen a number of times Mshishi dancing. What we love to see. Of course, there's not been too much of that, but when it's necessary, he does. When he has to track back and win the ball back, he does. So they work as So they do work as a unit, but you then see the individual brilliance. Because sometimes winning a game takes a moment, an individual moment of brilliance. So he's actually, there's a bit of a balance in this team. The hard work, the individual flair, which is what we love to see. We've even seen some qualities of Evidence Mahopa that we probably had not seen before, particularly in the Nigeria game. The boy, look, he just dished it out and showed us what he's capable of.
And in that Nigeria game, he could have easily scored there, but for me, we're coming to the Nigeria game, but and then we go to Cape Verde, Yamoussoukro. My word, Cape Verde. Here was a test, and we saw the test. We expected it. They topped a group that had Ghana, that had Egypt. In fact, they beat Ghana, and even in the last 16 as well, they were given a fright by Mauritania, but still came out of it as well. The coach talks about the game not being
his worst game.
His worst game, but we were talking about individual brilliance and the captain.
Skipper.
The skipper. He just became the skipper there.
Yeah, I think that was like I saw people saying something similar. Your Siya Kolisi moment, where he became, a leader of the country, where when he was needed, he stepped up. And people, the whole world is talking about the 4 penalty saves, global attention, but that 90th minute save was, my word. And we see that so often in the PSL, but to see that AFCON is special. And obviously that brought a lot of confidence. That's when I think that everybody started to believe, we could actually win this if we could play this badly and under the cosh and still get the result. And we can probably beat anyone, which is why we are so left with a bad taste in the mouth right now.
But what was behind Ronwen and all those saves in the penalties? Because you get the feeling that a lot of preparation from the technical team, the goalkeeper coach, Grant Johnson, the analyst, because Ronwen mentions the analysts, Nasi Formali, a lot in what they were doing there. So you get that they were not leaving anything to chance in terms of their preparation.
Yeah, look, I think we've actually emphasized that you can see that there was preparation that went into this game. You can't leave things to chance, and knowing that there's a possibility that this game could be decided after the dreaded penalty shootout. It was important for them to actually prepare, and Ronwen does highlight the fact that he sat down with the analyst. They actually studied, Cape Verde, how they take penalties, and they obviously prepared Ronwen for that. Hugo Bruce himself as well.
Yep,
he does,
yep.
Mention that look, we did prepare, but there was also an element of the brilliance of Ronwen Williams. I've heard people say the penalties were not well taken. Come on. those were good penalties. Those were good penalties, struck with venom.
Yeah, when you were saying
No. I had to watch those penalties again because I saw people on social media saying no, they were not. No. Those were good penalties. Ronwen was brilliant. He was brilliant. But the interesting thing is that when I interviewed Ronwen, he actually said something very interesting that came to my mind. He says that each time, when he lost his brother when he was, fairly young, he says from that time he always feels that his brother is watching on him, is with him. So he would kneel and he would look up, So after every penalty, he would actually go and kneel and look up.
And he would like his season.
All the time. And just beautiful just to see the role that his late brother played in his career and how he still remembers him many years after that. But he's been exceptional. I wish he were younger so that he can go and play in a top league, man. Top goalkeeper.
We're playing Nigeria, match day -1, and you would see the focus, and Jose Peseiro continues on this line of Mamelodi Sundowns, and we had Walid Regagi also as well. They were not lying because the cohesion in the play of this team you can see, and we knew that in the past 4 matches we played with the same starting lineup. Come match day, did you anticipate that there would be that kind of an approach that was introduced?
Very interesting, because I kept thinking, before every game, I kept thinking, okay, what changes is coach likely to make? I would actually talk to you guys, but coach is likely to make. So going into Nigeria, I kept asking myself if coach would keep the same two, obviously knowing the threat that Nigeria has, on their wings, because look, Aubrey and Sailor on the right, they've been exceptional, very disciplined. They've not, in most of the games, didn't really venture forward a lot. Maintained that discipline. So I kept asking myself, and also the threat of Victor Osimhen there in the middle. The way he presses, he's such a beast. Look, I think I didn't anticipate the change, but until just a few hours before the match when I started, but what's happening? Then I realized, no man, actually coach is right to make that change, because then if we have 3 in the middle.
As an editor, and I have to come to you as an editor here, and you pick up a story, but you also know that you are here, you have to protect the South African interest, and you decide that I know, but this is not for public consumption.
It would be very tempting. It would be very tempting to get that. Because it's a sense of pride. It's a sense of pride to get that scoop.
Yes.
Yeah, look, I think, this is a national team, man. It's a national cause, man.
You manage information.
It can't be, it can't be personal. You can't now want.
You don't become a sensationalist.
Yeah.
We're not saying anything about anyone.
I knew. I did say, probably 2 hours before the game.
Remember, we also discussed it.
2 hours before the game, that there is a change. But I thought to myself, look, if I were to write that kind of story, the Nigerian media will pick it up and it will, get to these guys. So I also wanted a scenario where the Nigerians would get there and they would find 3 center backs and be like, and it happened exactly like that.
True to form, Lorenz, that Nigeria in the first half, the first 35 minutes, they didn't know how to deal with this, because this is not what they had planned for. And I remember talking to you earlier in the tournament about this, and you were saying, if the coach, maybe 3-minute defense, but you're also saying that, the coach, knowing him, he's always been steadfast in his approach. You don't see him playing a backfight.
He's not a tinkerman.
Yeah.
Not a tinkerman, yeah. And obviously, when you're on a run of 4 clean sheets towards a semi-final, you're tempted to say, like, don't fix what's not broken. You know what I mean? But yeah, it was very interesting to see how the players adapted. The public outcry was like, oh, Sianda Kulu. But I've watched Sianda over this last 2 years, and okay, he has the odd lapse of concentration, but which player doesn't? He really gives his heart and soul to this team. And when we watched him against Cote d'Ivoire with Mvala, yes, okay, there were some moments of nervousness, but he really played well. And people try to nitpick, you know, like same with Mahopa, they easy targets to nitpick. But yeah, I think against Nigeria, going man for man was a tactical masterclass, and you could see the faces of their media and their fans to say they were nervous. They were very nervous. And Pizzo said something very interesting after the game. He said, well done to Hugo Broos and the technical team. No team in this tournament was comfortable playing against you. You know what I mean? And that is a good omen.
I'm looking at the pictures because everyone is talking about it. Because when we came back, we had that momentum, and that chance that fell on Sailing. Yes.
What a 10.
Oh, I don't want. I was saying to Lorenz, I don't want to watch.
No, we just want the next
Just
game.
before, we just want the next game now. I want to. I've stopped watching those highlights because they bring me nightmares, and I feel for our boy because he's had a top tournament. And even in that game for me, he was my man of the match, Sailor.
But something interesting, a player misses a chance like that, and he's not ridiculed, and he's not branded as the you know, like the public enemy number one. What does that tell you?
Look, he's liked. But also the commitment that they've seen from him, but also even in the same game. I mean,
it was brilliant.
It was brilliant.
No, he's been exceptional. Sailor has been really good, man. And that moment would have kept off a good tournament for him. But look, it is what it is. We didn't manage to score that. But you can't take anything away from him. And it makes sense that people would still appreciate and forget that moment. Yes, it happened, and the public is saying, look, we missed out, but we're proud of these boys. So it's amazing just to see that.
Usually we would feel bad when there's a red card, but Grande's red card, we're like,
Thank you.
You also felt the same?
Yeah, look, it was a relief, man. I mean, he had to take one, but listen, this is what touched my heart, bro. So Grant has gotten a red card. And he walks off the pitch, and when he gets to just closer to Hugo Broos, he does.
Oh yes.
He does this.
Oh yeah.
Like he scored
I took it for the team.
But it's a goal.
I
took it for the team. And listen, that took us to the penalty shootouts where anything could have happened. So it had to be done. And man, the hug that Hugo Broos even gave him, you could tell, man. Good for taking one for the team.
Yes. I mean, I saw the fighter Julius Malema, even also congratulating him for getting that one for the team, and I also saw his mother actually today in Parliament, and I was like, wow. This is what you want to see, how the nation has just been galvanized by this.
It's true soldiers.
Yes.
True soldiers. They're trending again. They're trending again, which is very important. And just to, like you said, celebrities, all races, all colors, all ages. And what I think is most impactful is that I hope there are young kids that are watching this team now and saying, you know what, I want to play for Bafana. You know, like I can identify with this, you know, never say die attitude, because I mean over the past 10 years, I think we lost out on a generation of inspiration of saying, you know, I want to play for the national team. We have a lot of, I want to be a Springbok, you know, I want to be a Springbok, I want to be like Mthokozisi, you know what I mean? Mthokozisi has this amazing story, you know what I mean? And maybe we also should do more to also tell the stories of where these boys have come from to get to this point.
Exactly. Jens, thanks so much. I really appreciate Jens. We've been together, the three of us. Zizo has joined us. Mazi has been here. Naledi also arrived later, and also with Kamu as well. It's not easy. These guys, they've spent their heart and cash to be here, you know. But we love football and we love bringing these conversations to you, and also thanks to Vodacom Soccer for affording us this opportunity to share our journey and our stories at this AFCON. Au revoir.